Hello YouTube, Millennium X17 here, and EA has just ended their press conference, albeit suddenly. It's a little weird on the ending, but I'll get there. The start of this press conference started off with DICE Studio talking about Star Wars Battlefront. It was a pre-recorded video. It's definitely in-game, and it's definitely early gameplay footage. A lot of environments need to be created and what have you, but pre-recorded video. It was definitely running gameplay, but it's pre-recorded in advance. It's pre-recorded video. Looks interesting. Definitely early on in development. We'll see where it goes. They claim that it's a spring 2015 game, but from what I saw, if it slips to let's say early, if that date slips, don't be surprised, is what I'll say, because it looks pretty early on, so we'll see. Anyway, Andrew Wilson comes out, gives his intro speech about how this is, welcome to E3, we're so glad to have you, we at EA make great stuff, thank you for showing up, and all that good jive. Then BioWare came out, they had another pre-rendered trailer for Dragon Age Inquisition. This time, though, they had this live musician on stage playing what I think is a cello. Don't yell at me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's a cello. But it was live on stage playing the main game theme. Looks pretty good, same as in what we saw in Microsoft conference. Pretty good stuff. Aaron Flynn came out from BioWare, gave what I can't even tell if this was a live demo or a pre-recorded gameplay, and I think it was pre-recorded gameplay because that's what EA was doing all the press conference. All along, their entire press conference was nothing but pre-recorded gameplay, so I'd be willing to bet that's what it was. Talked about how they now have a limb targeting system, so when you're fighting dragons, you can shoot your arrows at their arms or legs, and it's so revolutionary. And I'm like, okay, it looks good enough. You can have that's the action approach. There's a tactical approach that you can do as well that kind of puts you into a real-time strategy game type of perspective, but you can pause the gameplay during it and actually plan out your strategy, and so it's not real-time strategy, but it's similar. Give you an idea what it might look like. They had another pre-rendered trailer showing off the different characters you can play at. Reminded everybody again, October 7th, 2014. It looks okay, but again, Dragon Age is one of those games I've never really played before, so again, a new entry into the series. Looks good from what they showed now. We'll only have to wait. Then they moved on to another BioWare game, which they talked about how they've been implementing new development techniques and systems to develop games, and they showed off a bunch of prototype in-work progress, type of stuff for, I think it was even, I don't even know if it's all one game or if it's multiple games, but they showed a lot of pre-recorded videos showing different characters and dynamic environments for stuff that's really super early in development. They mentioned a new Mass Effect game and how there are going to be new characters and what have you, and they showed a couple of those and a couple of dynamic environments, and then they talked about how that's what one team is doing, and then another team is doing a whole new IP, and then they showed dynamic environments, and I don't know if it's all the same, if it's a different game, nobody knows. They really didn't explain it all that well. Though what I can say is what they showed with the dynamic environments, it definitely looks pretty good of what they're trying to do for next gen. Definitely good stuff. No matter what they were showing then and there, that's probably a 2016 thing that I would look forward to in the long, long future. But there's that. Moving on, the strangest part of EA's press conference, that this is Ubisoft levels of awkward. Okay, Rachel Franklin came out talking about The Sims 4 and how you can now change the Sims personalities when you're creating the Sims. You can make them hothead or this or that or the other thing, and how this can affect how the new weird and quirky stories that can come out from when you're playing The Sims. and they showed this pre-recorded gameplay about how this character she made is a hothead, and his neighbor is really strict, and they're fighting all the time, and this party he went to, and it's so and then the character shows up, his neighbor shows up and tries to ruin his time at the party, and she's picking a fight with him, and then they add in this other character that somebody else created, and they brought her into the game, and she's some sort of musician of some sort, and it livens up the party so great that the guy laughs himself to death, ha ha ha. And then Spire Games, September 2nd, 2014. It was bizarre. Okay, I cannot give how awkward it was justice in this video. It was beyond anything I could ever say. So let's just move on. How about that? Yes. They showed a quick video of Bruce Lee talking about how water flows and how when he fights he has to move like the water. And then they cut to EA Sports, the UFC 2015. I'm guessing I don't know if it's UFC 15 or UFC 2015. Whichever one it is. Brian Hayes, creative director, came out, gave a pre-recorded gameplay trailer, which looks very damn good. The UFC games always seem to be the closest thing to avoid the uncanny valley when it comes to looking really, really super accurate to what real life looks like. It looks quite amazing. They had a fight between Bruce Lee and some... I don't even know I don't watch UFC. I couldn't even say what the fighter was, but they showed a pre-recorded gameplay session of Bruce Lee fighting this other guy, and it looks really good. Apparently, it launches next week. That's what he said, but Dean Richards then came out, talked about NHL 15 pre-recorded gameplay. Everything is new in the game for next gen. The graphics engine, the physics engine, the computation engine that. The game engine that causes everything to do what it does. Didn't really go into much detail about it. They showed a lot, again, he's talking over the pre-recorded gameplay during this whole section. Again, I'm not really into sports games, so... Patrick Soderlund came out talking about how... I'm not sure if he is from EA or if he is from Criterion, and he's showing some early gameplay footage from a Criterion new IP that they don't even have a name for yet, I'm guessing. The reason I'm guessing is because they never actually said what the game is called. They didn't even give it a project name. So I guess new Criterion IP is what it'll be called as until they give it a name. Though it looks quite interesting. I like it. They looked at... Criterion's been a lot of car racing games. They did the Burnout franchise and then what have you, and they like how, especially in Burnout games, the crash modes and what have you, so they wanted to branch out from that. So they started looking at all different types of vehicles. ATVs, wingsuit, helicopters, small plane, motorcycle, you name it, they looked at it, and they've been looking into developing an action game from a first-person perspective. Kind of think Mirror's Edge-ish, but from the perspective of these these other different vehicles. And, again, what is this, a racing game? Is it an action game? I don't really know, but it looks... The concept of it looks good, albeit very, very early stages of development. Looks promising. Definitely going to keep my eyes open for that one, though I would almost guarantee that that's a 2016 game. One can hope. Because that's the type of game, if they force it out in 2015, it'll be, the graphics people will cry about it. Let's put it that way. Anyway, Cam Weber from EA Tiburon came out and talked about PGA Tour. Now uses the Frostbite 3 engine. Yes. Fully rendered golf course. You can explore every inch. Apparently that's supposed to be exciting. They showed a pre-rendered trailer. It comes out spring 2015. Again, the sports games always look good. Madden 15 pre-rendered gameplay. You now have more control, and now there's more intensity with the player movements and how. And this is the one thing about video games in general that I've always had a little pet peeve about, is that how fluid your character moves about in certain video games looks stiff. It's not very fluid, and they've been reworking the engine that does that. It now computes this player movement in real time. It's looking very good. If now only they would bring that to other games, I would have less to be irritated about. but maybe that's just me. Madden 15, August 26, 2014, ended with another pre-rendered trailer. Talked about an older style RPG kind of thing, a pre-rendered trailer for Dawngate. Looked interesting, didn't really get to see that much of it, though. Well, we'll see. DICE came back out. DICE had a very big showing at this press conference, by the way. DICE came out with Mirror's Edge, which I think now we can confirm that it is, in fact, a remake of Mirror's Edge. Why you would do that, why is it necessary, I don't know. But it's not Mirror's Edge 2, it is, in fact, just Mirror's Edge, and they're just rebooting the entire franchise from the start. Again, why would you want to? I don't know. I played the original Mirror's Edge. It's a great game. It's definitely underappreciated. But, you know, neither here nor there. Pre-recorded video montage. It's definitely super early. This is another 2016 game. It looks good. It definitely looks like what I remember from the first Mirror's Edge. That bright, white, futuristic styling in the city, and just the crazy combinations as to where you can go and climb up different obstacles. That game was so much fun. I really liked it. It was very different. While they were showing this pre-recorded video, the two people that were presenting it were talking over it, talking about how they've did, different development techniques that they've been trying to get to make the game as best it can be, or different options through the levels and what have you, and how this game is actually, there's a direct route for less experienced players, and then there's like a pro extreme route that can go through some of you can actually cut entire whole sections of the campaign, you can cut through levels in such a way that, but you have to be crazy good at the game in order to do it. So definitely a good game for that type of game design standpoint. It's definitely interesting to see what they're doing there. Next up, why they didn't put this with the rest of the sports stuff, I don't know, but then FIFA 15 came out, pre-recorded gameplay. They have a new physics systems. The guy kept talking about emotions and how we're bringing emotion back to the game of football, and how the crowd has emotion and the players have emotion and there are emotions. Again, I don't really get it. It does look more realistic. They ended with a pre-rendered trailer. A couple of things that they did talk about that I was really interesting about in the name of realism. The flag posts at the corner of the field, actually when the ball hits them, they actually fall over and bounce back. When the ball gets kicked into the goal posts, in the goal itself isn't just this rigid thing that just is stiff there. It hits it and the whole thing rocks and shakes, and it's in real time. Looks pretty good. Definitely more realistic. They're on the right track. Again, why they don't bring details like this to other games is beyond me, but neither here nor there. Let us move on now to Visceral Games. Comes out with Battlefield Hardline. Started off with two guys, didn't catch their names, couldn't spell them if my life depended on it anyways. Screenshots and talking with these two guys. Then they immediately went off from talking about the game into what everybody cares about, apparently, as far as developers are concerned, developers and publishers, more importantly, are concerned with, is multiplayer. And of course, 32 multiplayer match, they showed right there. I'm guessing it's a pre-rendered gameplay, because everything else in EA's press conference was, so I'd be willing to bet it was as well. 32 multiplayer match, cops versus criminals is the game mode in question. It looks okay. After the trailer leaked last week, or the week before, I even forget when it happened, but a lot of the, graphics snobs is what I'll call them, cried about how it looked like a bad PS2 game, because apparently graphics are all that people care about these days. Well, let's just say that what they showed needs work, and the people that are graphics snobs are going to have a lot to cry about. Yeah, that's what I'll say about that. Then they dropped probably the biggest surprise of the thing, which I wouldn't... It's the first thing that got me excited about something, and that's that the beta for Battlefield Hardline multiplayer launches today, right now. So it's on PC, PS4, first come, first serve. By the time you see this video, I'd imagine all the spots are already taken. So if this is news to you, I'm sorry. First come, first serve. You need Battlefield 4, a copy thereof on the respective platforms in order to ask for an infight, which is sad, to say the least. Battlefield Hardline, I'll say it looks promising. I'm still looking forward to this game because I don't really care too much about graphics. The only time I'll really care about graphics is if I'm looking at something and I can't tell what it is. Like, that's the point when graphics become important to me. Games have advanced to a point now where they're not the number one thing that I look for. I look for fun and innovative gameplay. And this looks slightly more different enough that I'm interested to try it out. Doesn't mean I'm going to champion it and say it's the greatest thing ever. It's got my attention enough that I'm willing to try it out. And it comes out October 21st, 2014. So, yes, and at that point in time, they end the EA press conference. Drop it off the cliff. 5 minutes early with no rhyme or reason. There was no indication that the end was coming. And then all of a sudden it's just, yes, thank you so much. Our beta starts now, and then smoke cannons rise up from the stage, and then thank you very much, enjoy your E3, see you later. Okay. Little bizarre on that end, but yeah, I say honestly, another by the numbers. Definitely didn't have any super shock and awe moment that I would say that really got my attention. The beta starting now definitely was like, okay, but then after that, and then they just cut it off. No, oh yeah, by the way, we have one more thing, and then something surprising. No, nothing really surprising. And all pre-rendered gameplay. So this conference is actually worse than Microsoft's, because I would definitely say Microsoft is still in the lead because they had a lot of live demos. And I've always said that with pre-recorded videos or pre-recorded gameplay, you can control what you are seeing, also pre-rendered trailers as well. They're safe. Live demos, it's running on real tech in real time, things can go wrong. And if it runs smooth, like a lot of what Microsoft showed in their live demos they didn't have a hiccup. So that's impressive. When you play the PRT or the PRGs or the PRVs, it almost leads me to believe that they're not 100% confident as to where they are in their development cycle. And a lot of these games are coming out this year in only a couple of months. I'm interested, yes, in Battlefield Hardline, but it needs more work. But I'm still interested in it. So that's my take on the EA press conference. In about an hour and a half is Ubisoft's concerts, which that is always a source of entertainment. And after that, I will be giving my impressions on that as well. So until that point in time, you guys have yourselves a good day.